Hi everyone, this is Cindy again from Ideas Times 2, and yesterday I did a tutorial on a double file folder ephemera folder, and we did the basic construction of that, and I finished it up this morning, and I'll show you that in a minute. I'll show you what I did and kind of explain my process. And I have mostly filled the pockets full of ephemera and wanted to do just one more thing. And so I thought today we would do a craft with me, and this is what I want to make. Last week my sister sent me a journal. We did a swap, and this was inside the journal, and I just love it and decided I wanted to make a couple of these for the projects that I'm working on. And so this is what we're going to do, just a quick craft with me. And another reason I wanted to do this is because a couple of weeks, month or so ago, we asked for our subscribers to tell us who or what they would like to see for tutorials, and somebody had suggested collaging. And I had that on my list of things to do, but this was a hard one for me to kind of wrap my head around, because I don't really know how I collage. I just do it, and I just try to make sure I have a balance between color and texture, and you know, find a balance between all of those things. And so I really don't have a process or really know even how I do it, but I like to collage. So I thought today would be a good day for that. It's kind of a miserable gray wet day, and so I'm sure I have a lot of shadows, and so I'll apologize for that, but there's not a whole lot I can do. I have every light in my craft studio on, and the shades are all up, and I'm still getting shadows. But so this is what we're going to make, just a fun little ephemera card, courtesy of my sister Betsy. So what she started with, and what I'm going to start with, is a manila file folder divider. You know, for the you know, we have I know these at work to divide, you know, the alphabet with all of the people who work there and our little information cards, right? And I picked up a pack of these, I think maybe 50 of them, for just a few dollars on Amazon. But if you don't have these, that's okay, because this is exactly the same as a manila file folder. If you have any of those laying around, you can cut it down. The size of this is 8 inches by 5 inches, and has a notch. The pack that I bought has the notch in 3 different locations, on the left, in the middle, and then the right. And if you don't have file folders laying around and you have heavy cardstock, go ahead and use that. And you can just add your own notch. You can make a template, cut it out, or if you are lucky enough to have one of these tab makers, you can go ahead and use one of these. But you don't need to go out and buy anything special. And you know, any file folder, any heavy cardstock is going to do the trick for this. I'm going to move that to the side. I already prepared the base of one, simply because I didn't think you'd want to watch me cut out paper. And so this is what I've already done. And so I just distressed the back a little bit, and on the front I glued a piece of paper that's just kind of a neutral background. This is newsprint, and I thought it'd be a good base to collage on top of. You can see on this one, Betsy started with a base of it looks like wood planks on hers, and then she layered some cardstock, some dictionary page, tea and coffee stained paper. Here's another cardstock, a different cardstock, and a little botanical there, and then some fabric, and then covered the tab with more cardstock. And so I like to start also with a neutral base, and and then kind of go from there. So since somebody specifically asked about collaging, I thought I would kind of show how I start. And this is how I start, with a pile of paper. And since I'm doing botanicals right now, I've made a couple of botanical journals and a couple of ephemera kits, and I have lots of scraps of botanicals laying around right now, and so that's kind of my theme. And so my pile has a little bit of everything, and that's what, if you're going to collage, what you should have. Kind of start with a pile of everything. So I've got some old paper bag, I've got some coffee and tea stained paper, some book pages, a botanical page. Here I've got a beautiful napkin with butterflies and irises, and here's some muslin that I printed some William Morris wallpaper on, so I just stuck that in there. Here's some homemade paper and some decorator paper. Here's a book page from Jane Eyre. Music, you gotta have some music, right? Here's some more homemade paper that I made with rose petals in it, and since I'm doing botanicals, I thought I might want to use that. I don't know yet. Here's some woodland clip art from Nick the Booksmith. I had a few images left. I thought maybe I'd want to use those. Some more decorated paper. This one's a little heavier than the others. Here's some stamps, because, you know, never know. Some more muslin that I printed on, and a little, I don't know where this came from, a little tiny scrap of burlap, and some more botanicals. And you can see I've already used this page. And there's some paper and some stickers and some giant index cards, more stamps, sticker there. And sometimes instead of putting paper down on a collage, I like to have a background of maybe some stenciling or rubber stamping, and so I had these out just in case. That's what I wanted. And the bottom of the stack is some corrugated paper, because I like the texture, and when I collage, I like to have a lot of different kinds of textures. So I grabbed that as well. And these are all just things that I happen to have in my discard pile, because I have been very busy doing a lot of ephemera. And so I have a lot to work with right here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some coffee stained paper and some craft paper, and so I have some place on the front for maybe some journaling. And I'm going to tear, I think, pretty much everything. I like raw edges. I don't want anything cut or and I definitely am not going to fussy cut. I'm not a fussy cutter. I just don't have time, and I have rheumatoid arthritis, and so the scissors, you know, having my scissors and using them in that kind of repetitive motion is actually very difficult on my hands, hard on my hands. So, but I like the look of raw edges, so that's the direction I'm going to go. And let's see, I think that's a good size. And I'm going to ink up pretty much the edges of everything, and I apologize for using your valuable time to watch me ink and distress paper. And the noise, of course, gets irritating after a while. I think I may put that there. When I'm collaging, I lay everything out on my tag or my cover or whatever I'm collaging, and I don't glue or sew anything until I'm done. And I do that so that I can make decisions without having to commit. And maybe that's why I'm still single. I have commitment issues. I don't know. I'm going to, I think, add some color and take something off of this page. It's got some beautiful images. And this page came from this fantastic book called The Concise British Flora in Color. And I love this book. It's got great, every page has images, and one thing that's really nice is they're not front and back, so that I never have to decide. There's that commitment issue again. I don't have to decide which picture to use. I can use all of them. It's a fantastic book. What, €3 for this? Was not expensive anyway. Because if it was, I would definitely not be ripping it up. All right, I want color. I think I will go. So I decided to go with these Lathrius tuberoses. When I was a kid, I thought they were tuberoses instead of tuberoses, rosas. And just going to give that a little ink around the edges. And I'm probably going to put that right over here. And I want to add some texture, so I think I'm going to add some of the corrugated paper, maybe just a piece right here. And just tore it out, just tore it. No cut, because no cutting on this project, at least not for me, not today anyway. And not 100% sure on the size, but give this a little grunge. And I'll probably put that there. I need some script, I think. So let's see, what do I have for script in my little pile over here? Pile of papers. Oh, maybe I'll use that. And or that. All right. Let's see. I also printed off quotes about flowers on muslin, so I think maybe I will use one of these. And how about Ralph Waldo Emerson? I think that's a good one. Flowers are a proud assertion that a ray of beauty outvalues all the utilities in the world. So I do have to use my scissors since I'm not going to be able to tear that off. So trim that just a little bit more and grunge the edges. And I think I'll put that there, but I need something behind it, something, one more layer, and I think I'm going to use some of the homemade paper. And I gotta take the little backing off the muslin. Maybe. There we go. Something like that. Okay. So far so good, but I think I need something right there. And let's see. I think maybe just a little book page right there. Don't want to cover up the pink. Maybe it's a little wide. I'll trim that back just a little bit. My process when I collage literally is just, do I like it? Yes. Okay, I'm done. If I don't like it, I keep messing with it until I'm satisfied. But it is about balance. And I don't like things that are too uniform or too symmetrical. So I think I want more of the light on the light paper on the top. And something like that. What do you think? I think I'm ready to glue. So for when I'm collaging, I use either Uhu or Fabri-Tac. And one reason I like these is they don't make the paper wrinkle, and they both dry pretty quickly, although the Fabri-Tac dries a little faster. And because I'm going to sew over this, I want something that's going to dry pretty fast and not gum up my sewing machine. So I'm going to use the Uhu though for the paper there. And I also keep wax paper sheets on my at my desk so that I don't get glue all over my mat. Also, another little tip: if you're like me and you're forgetful of where things were aligned, and you want to make sure that if you find a placement that you really like, and you have to take everything off in order to glue it, and you want to make sure you get it back, if you have your phone handy, just take a picture and refer back to the picture to make sure you have everything right where it belongs. Okay. I always make such a mess with glue stick, so I always make sure that I have something underneath whatever I'm gluing, so that I don't have to worry too much about making a mess, and then I can just throw it away when I'm done. this right there, I think. Now for this one, I'm going to use Fabri-Tac. I usually use the big bottles because they're more cost effective, but I had this little one handy, but that nozzle just does not want to let go of the glue, and I am out of my big bottle. And a little bit of homemade paper. I love to make paper, and so almost every one of my projects has some little scraps, little pieces of homemade paper. I've been thinking about doing a tutorial on homemade paper, but I haven't decided because it's kind of messy. I take up my whole kitchen when I am making paper, and it's noisy because you need the blender. If you're interested in maybe a tutorial on homemade paper, let me know. I would be happy to do one and figure out the logistics of it. All right, there. This is really symmetrical down on the bottom. I'm not 100% taken with that. Let's see, what can we do to kind of balance that out a little better? Actually, maybe something up here would kind of do the trick. I think we'll leave it. All right, I'm going to sew this up, and I don't want to do that on camera. And I'll be right back. All right, I am back. Took a chance for the glue to dry and sewed it up, and I just did wonky stitching all over, and just one continuous long stitch all the way around, and did straight lines, straightish lines around the edges, but then just wonky stitched all over the rest of it. And so on the top I have left some room for journaling. The back, that's kind of fun. You can see there's room for journaling back here. If you don't like the stitches on the back, which I do, I love the stitches on the back, go ahead and cover it with coffee stain paper or tea stain paper, lined paper. It's the thing I love about junk journaling and paper crafts of any kind. It's so easy to redo things if you don't like them, start over, and it's not expensive. Well, it's not expensive unless you're addicted to paper like I am. So this is the one that I just made, and I'm going to put that in my double pocket ephemera kit, and this is the one my sister made. I also made this one, and I think this one turned out really nice as well, and I like that corrugated paper a lot. So I'm going to put this in that little project I showed you yesterday, and here it is all finished. So yesterday we did the basic construction. Today I finished up pretty much everything else. I did a layered cover right here with a botanical print, some muslin and some cotton there, a little Emerson quote right here. The closure is just ribbon, and it's long on one side. The two pieces of ribbon about 24 inches each, and I have a long on one side and short on the other, so that when I tie it, the bow is right here on the inside. I did something different. Somebody asked if I had ever done this, and I hadn't, and so I thought I would try. And so what I did was I added another folder and sewed it in like a signature with a long stitch. You can see here on the side. And so I put a little collage on here and have 2 pockets, and inside the pockets are some more tags and journaling cards. And then in the middle I did another one, another little folder, and with pockets, 2 little pockets with some more tags and ephemera on the inside, and slipped that in there. And so after yesterday, so this I added this morning, I collaged the pockets on each side to add just a little more visual interest, and I added some lace on the top of each of the big pockets on the inside. So that's how I finished it up, and it is now full of ephemera. I believe I made over 40 pieces of homemade ephemera, including tags and cards, index cards with a little collage on there, journaling cards from vintage paper with just coffee stain paper on the back, tags, and I used a lot of vintage book pages, vintage botanical ephemera, and let's see, let's see. In this pocket there are a couple of tags. Here's some more homemade paper. Here's a double bifold tag, and it opens up, and on the inside it's got the little notebook and a little tag in this pocket, and has a little swirly paper clip on there to keep it closed. And I've got book page envelopes, a Tracy Fox envelope, and on the inside it's got some little journaling cards, Tim Holtz, and I sewed coffee stain paper on the back, and this one I put a little collage on there. So over 40 pieces of homemade ephemera, and probably another 10-15 ephemera cards from Tracy Fox, from the Graphics Fairy, and I think that was it. But tons and tons of stuff, a little bit of everything fits in this book. Over here I did embellished a little bag, and it's got ephemera cards on the inside, so that fits in there. One thing I did forget to mention yesterday is in each of the big pockets I like to have a large piece of ephemera, a big card or a big tag, something that gives it a little bit of stability. So that's why I have that in that pocket. I also did this cute little library book pocket with a library card in there that's been collaged. And in this pocket I have a little journal made with Edith Holden pages, and on the inside the papers, a little bit of everything, whatever scraps I had laying around, some avocado stained, coffee stained book pages, and in the back it has a little gusseted pocket, and it has some more little cards in there, and of course some original. I like to put original ephemera in all of my ephemera kits, and these are in here, a couple of 4 book pages actually, so that you can use them how you like. And so this sucker is huge and full. So let's put this in this pocket. And something else I forgot to mention yesterday when we were constructing the folder is that your 12 by 12 paper needs to be omnidirectional, so that, you know, if the paper is directional and it has a definite pattern, that when you fold it over to make the pockets, you don't wind up with your images upside down. It's not a big deal because you can always cut off like 3.5 inches from your 12 by 12 paper and then sew it onto the bottom or glue it onto the bottom. But I like to have just omnidirectional, so I don't have to worry about it. So that is our project, our little craft with me today, and I hope you make some of the big collaged cards. I think they're a lot of fun. They add a nice element to your journal. They can be used as placeholders. They can be used for journaling, and they're a lot of fun. So I hope you take the time to make one. And thank you for joining me today. And check out our blog, ideastimes2.com. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. We love our subscribers. And check out our store on Etsy if you're interested in maybe purchasing this awesome little stuffed to the brim file folder. And thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.